I had a lot of beads as a kid, and I was always really into jewelry in general. And I would have like a little song and dance routine, and I'd be selling my jewelry out of like a
Love it.
caboodle on a TV tray on the side of the road. And I don't know, I was like trying to give like young Bette Midler vibes. I think that I should really be on the Nerdlandia podcast.
Yes, you're right where you should be.
Welcome to Nerdlandia.
Welcome to Nerdlandia, where we celebrate each other's wins together. I'm your host, Emily Case Buskirk. Our Season 2 finale guest provides a hodgepodge of fun topics. Sarah started Gilded Gecko as a way to reconnect with her childhood love of jewelry making. Since then, her venture has expanded to organizing local artists' pop-up events. We talk about our favorite local thrifting spots, Sarah's experience as a newcomer to the Lincoln art scene, and of course, the leopard gecko who inspired the name of her business. Stay tuned to the end for a quick update on the show. Sarah, welcome to the pod, and thank you so much for being the Season 2 finale guest.
Emily, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I think the only logical place to start here is talking about the gecko that you named your business after. I need to know everything about Kiwi. Start from the beginning.
Oh man, Kiwi is truly my pride and joy. She is a 3-year-old leopard gecko, and
Brilliant.
She was born on September 11th, 2022. Kiwi was a birthday gift, and I got her in November of 2022, and I think that she was probably the best gift I could have ever received. So when it came to naming my business, I definitely had her in mind specifically.
That's awesome. Yeah, is she like more energetic? Is she more chill? Like, what's the vibe?
Okay, I previously had another leopard gecko before Kiwi, and he was very notoriously like very chill. You could like leave him in one spot and like he didn't really move a whole heck of a lot, and he was just very relaxed. Kiwi in comparison is more energetic, so I didn't expect that from a leopard gecko. I thought maybe they were more tame and docile. Kiwi definitely has a lot of energy. She's curious. She wants to explore and see what's going on. She has she has a exercise wheel in her tank. So she's got like a 50-gallon like glass like front opening enclosure, and she has an actual exercise wheel with no holes and no openings on it. So her feet cannot get stuck on the wheel. But she takes about 10,000 steps a day, very slow steps. Like those steps are like really slow, but she does enjoy that wheel, and it has become like why am I blacking out with this word right now? You're going to have to edit this. So that
like
wheel has definitely become an emotional support wheel. That thing has become an emotional support exercise wheel, and she takes her naps on there, and every morning we turn the light on at a certain time, and she's like waiting for us, like looking like, are you going to let me out? Because that's like when she gets to come out too. And
that's
she
awesome.
perches. Yeah, it's very interesting, and it's been very like fun to have a lizard as a pet.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. I love that geckos and leopard geckos in particular can have like a huge variety of personalities. I mean, I've had my rescue gecko for like 2 years now, and I didn't really know what to expect. And I was like learning a lot the first year, especially. And she seemed like a little more like reserved, but now I've been able to see her personality come out more. And yeah, she likes to do some exploring too. I also haven't heard of a gecko like actually having its own wheel, which is really exciting. I love that.
It was like a random idea for her first birthday. I didn't know of anyone that had this. I was just like, she really likes to like walk and climb. Yes. And she has things in her tank that she can climb on or dig, but she doesn't seem super interested in it. Like it's like a sometimes thing. And I'm like, what if I get her a wheel? Would she use that? And I just tested it out and she really likes it. So I'm so glad that I got it for her first birthday at no regrets.
Oh, that is fantastic. And I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention my other newer gecko. Last summer, I adopted a baby crested gecko. And so, I mean, completely different species, completely different care needs. So that was also a fun new challenge.
Yeah, their feet are different too. So the things they climb on are different.
They have sticky feet, whereas
yes, exactly.
leopard geckos just have little claws, and even though they like climbing, they're not very good at it. But
no, they have like limited materials they can latch on to.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, cresties on the other hand, they do have little sticky toe pads and are arboreal, so love climbing. The tanks are tall instead of long. And so I love the variety that each of them provide. Because I would say Ruby is more on the chill side, even though she has her, exploratory moments. But like Quince is like pretty crazy, like all the time, and he's still like a baby / juvenile. So just excited to see how he continues to grow and how that all unfolds, I guess. So.
What's interesting is that Kiwi has not really grown or gained weight probably since she hit like a year old. But I heard that it takes 3 years to reach like maturity, so to speak. And, I think what it is that she really does just exercise so much.
That makes sense.
That she just has like a smaller frame and she eats a good amount of bugs. And I've tried to fatten her up a little bit, but she really just stays right around like 42 to 43 grams.
She's like a marathon walker. She just likes
yes.
Likes her distance, likes her treadmill, likes her cardio.
She is long and lean.
That's awesome. Okay, I love having all that context on the gecko behind the name of your business, Gilded Gecko. And so to transition into that, what inspired you to start your business then?
Okay, so this is maybe a little bit sad, and I'm sorry to bring the moment down, but I just realized one day that life is short and tomorrow is not promised. In October of 2023, I had 2 friends of mine like pass away, and it was not connected, and I was just really surprised that such young, vibrant people who were like in the throes of their career and like just like doing well, traveling, like living life, being a good example in that way, like just suddenly were extinguished. And I was like, am I living to my full potential? Are there passions that I could be leaning into that I'm not? And I'm like, everyone always says to me, start an Etsy store. Why aren't you selling what you make? Because I've always been really crafty and creative. And I was like, you know what? I think that I might need to make a change. I might need to lean into those things because maybe I'm scared to do it. And that's why I've not been doing it.
Yeah.
And I never thought of myself as scared to do it, but I'm like, maybe I am. So I decided that it was time to just make that change and take that leap and see what happens. Give myself a good 2 years of like kind of putting myself out there and finding events to join and pushing my like offerings to people and just seeing what sticks. And I started very small, and I'm not big now by any means, but I started very small, like really humble beginnings. Like it was literally like a bulletin board of earrings tacked onto it. And that was all I had. One bulletin board, like 30 pairs of earrings. Those moments in time that like make you stop and pause, I think just gave me clarity on the fact that I wasn't doing something that makes me truly happy and there's something else out there. And that's really where Gilded Gecko was born. I took an old hobby and like brought it into like my adult life and kind of made it like a small business.
That's amazing. And sometimes you do need those reminders, even if it seems kind of depressing or scary, that there like nothing is promised. The future isn't guaranteed, and sometimes it can be so easy to get lost into the day to day. So I'm glad you're able to like see the silver lining from that really difficult time and make a positive out of it. That's really cool. Also, I like your comment about like taking these things you've always been interested in and bringing them to life now, because I do think those interests that you have as a child, it can be easy for those to be like mocked as childish or something, but it's like, no, that's who we were before, before society affected us too much and before expectations pointed us in the direction that we went in. So I think in some ways you do have to like look back and connect on those eras. I mean, that's why I have reptiles as pets now, because I love wild animals and things like that. And it, some people will say silly, and like that's okay. I understand it is silly, but it's also like really fulfilling at the same time.
Right. Like I think we have these things that we love as young people, but then at some point in time, it's the last time we ever do that. And we don't even realize that it's the last time. And then those things that really were so meaningful are now shelved and never like approached again. And then as we become older, we are given like these different expectations from society. And from my point of view, as like an elder millennial, it was you're going to college and you're going to come out with some corporate job. You're going to reach all these milestones at certain ages. And I was really delayed on hitting all these milestones. Yeah, I went off to college. I didn't graduate in time. And, I went into like corporate world, but I wasn't great at it. And I bounced around trying to find my place. And I never felt like truly fulfilled.
Yeah.
And I think that trying to meet someone else's expectations doesn't fulfill you. And it's like, what is it that does? And it's like, maybe look back on some of the things that were interesting, creative hobbies when you were younger, those things that took up your like entire day sometimes, but like in a good way. And maybe look back on those and see maybe there's something to that. How can I like make this kind of be what makes me more happy?
Yeah. And also, like, I would also note, like, that can look different for different people. And, like, however you pursue that path is amazing. It can be like a thing you do in your spare time while you do have another job. It can be a venture that you jump out into the unknown and try to make it happen. Like, that's incredible too. It can be something else.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be something that makes money for you.
Yeah.
But I do think there's something special about tapping into your former self and
Absolutely.
like re-identifying those like creative like things that kind of sting to your heart,
Yes, absolutely. So, kind of going off of that, what made you interested in making jewelry, or what was it that stuck out to you about that activity in particular?
I had a lot of beads as a kid, and I was always really into jewelry in general. I think a lot of that stems from the classic board game Pretty Pretty Princess.
Oh.
And as a board game enthusiast, I was
Yes.
also a Pretty Pretty Princess enthusiast.
Amazing.
So like I loved that you have like this little thing on your head and like little necklaces and like you've got like all the bracelets on your arms. And I really did feel very fancy, So
Amazing.
I don't know, like I just liked being adorned with little shiny accessories from a young age. So I started making jewelry because somebody in my life was buying me beads and thread. I don't even know who, but I would then go to family parties and sell all this like goofy jewelry I was making for $1. And then, when times were tough, I was setting up my grandma's like folding TV tray on the side of the street. And I would have like a little song and dance routine, and I'd be selling my jewelry out of like a caboodle on a TV tray on the side of the road. And I don't know, I was like trying to give like young Bette Midler vibes. I was like a certifiable old young lady, I guess.
Love
because
it.
like all the songs were like about like, there was like, it's about jewelry, but it was like goofy little jingles I'd like rewritten like along the tune of songs from the movie Beaches with Bette Midler.
Okay.
Because I was like oddly into that in like first grade. Yeah. And I think that I should really be on the Nerdlandia podcast.
Yes, you're right where you should be. I have never heard of the board game Pretty Pretty Princess, but I did love board games growing up. I'm trying to think. We had a Pokemon board game.
Oh, yeah. We have Pokemon Monopoly here, and that's one of the things we like most. But that game's so time consuming, so you really need a good 3 hours.
We had Pokemon Sorry. That one was pretty excellent.
Okay, cutie.
Anyway, but yeah, no, that board game sounds amazing, and I love how you're able to make these creations and share them with people, and also reconnect with that mini Bette Midler.
Yeah, and now it's funny because I'm still popping up on the side of the road. You know what I mean? And I'm like, not much has changed. I just am dragging more along with me.
Yeah. So I've been curious because, I've been to a couple of your pop-ups and I look at, all the awesome jewelry you have to offer. So can you walk us through a little bit of like your jewelry making process, or what inspires you and how does it go from there?
Yeah, so my beads are sourced from like what I would say are sustainable sources, because I describe myself as an upcycled handmade jewelry brand.
Okay.
So what that means is I find beads or like maybe old vintage jewelry or costume jewelry at like estate sales, yard sales, thrift shops, like local swaps, Facebook Marketplace. Sometimes it's like an old lady I know through like a philanthropic organization, and she needed help cleaning out her basement. So now like I have this box of craft supplies that she just gave me as like a thank you, So sometimes people give me things because maybe their grandma passed away and they have all these beads or craft supplies that she left behind that they don't know what to do with. So what I wind up doing is making like a remembrance collection. So like I'll do like maybe an earring and a necklace for you, maybe your cousin and sister, like out of the beads that you've given me from grandma's collection. But then they let me keep the rest of those things. So then I still have like more beads to add to my collection. So my collection grows like throughout the year. And the interesting thing about it, I think, is that you never know what you're going to find and if you're going to find that again. So things really could be truly one of a kind or super limited release at Gilded Gecko, because I might never get those beads back. So when you buy something from me, I might have had enough to make maybe 1 to 6 of that thing, and that's really it. And nobody else in the city has that. And probably no one's ever going to have it again because I can't necessarily remake it again.
Yeah, that reminds me of like what I get sucked into about like Facebook Marketplace, because you're like scrolling around and suddenly it's like, oh, hey, like that's kind of cool. Yeah, I think I like that. And then I try to like see if I can find another version online to see how much it's worth. And then it's like, oh my gosh, like I actually can't get that. And then suddenly you want the thing on Facebook Marketplace even more. So.
Yeah, I am definitely guilty of that, because I'm like, oh yeah, now I'm going to Google how much does this actually cost, like in store if I buy this at Walmart or Amazon, like what are they charging for something similar? And I'm like, wow, that really is a good deal. And then, next thing you know, I'm talking myself into driving across town to go meet some guy that I don't know. And I'm like, this is gonna really pay out because I'm gonna get some beads out of this.
Love that. I mean, when you're like, looking at all of your beads, is it just kind of an intuitive process of like putting together, a set of earrings or a necklace or like bracelet that you think is cool? I don't know. Do you have any like thoughts on how that all comes together?
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts on that.
Okay.
So I'm going to rewind a little bit because I am a long-winded storyteller, and that's just part of my charm, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So my grandpa was Joe Cuomo, and he is not from upstate New York originally, but that's where I'm from, and that's where I know us to be, from originally. So in Troy, New York, he had like an antique shop called Cuomo's Treasure Chest. And I thought that was such like a cute, fun name. So I thought about naming my business that for a hot minute, but I thought it might just be a little bit too long, too many words, too many syllables. Like it doesn't slide off the tongue as easily.
Yeah.
So I decided that might not be best. But what I did was I have a very specific box that I buy a bunch of them. And that's what all my beads get sorted into. So my bead box collection is called the Cuomo's Treasure Chest.
I love that.
So I've got like a dozen of them full of beads, and now I'm going to have to go buy more of them because my collection keeps growing. But that kind of just makes it more exciting, you know?
Yes.
So what I do is sometimes, yes, I have something in mind because it might be like, okay, it's football season coming up, or it's Christmas coming up, or St. Patrick's Day is coming up. Like there might be a theme that I have that I can like maybe kind of work with, or it might just be I'm low stock on silver earrings or gold necklaces or bracelets in shades of pink. So I just have to kind of take stock of my own inventory and see where I'm at and see what my needs are. And then really I just open my Cuomo's treasure chests and see what beads kind of jump out at me at that point in time. That's really all it is. It's just, okay, does this box look like something I want to work with today? And if not, I keep it moving on to the next box until something's like, you know what? I want to do something with that. That's right. I've been thinking about that and I'm going to put it into action right now. And then next thing you know, my whole desk is covered in supplies and it's 6 hours later and I'm like, wow, I made 3 pairs of earrings only, but I made them 17 different ways before I figured out this was the way. This is it right here.
Amazing. I love the image of the treasure chest or the box from your grandpa. So my dad had his own small business for like over 30 years, and it was a pawn shop. It's just always fun, especially as a kid, to like see the hodgepodge of awesome things that you can have.
I like to stare at other people's stuff too. So like a pawn shop, I'm like, oh, I fit in right here. I'm like, I just want to look at everything and take it all in. And if I can get a story, if I can get like a backstory on something, I'm very interested. I'm like, oh, where did this come from? Who owned this before me? You know, I don't know why. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. I like to know.
Yeah, I'm definitely like a big, like, I don't know, used items or thrifted, upcycled, like you said. I kind of like the idea of things that have had a life before and they didn't just kind of, you know, come directly from a factory, and that I can give it another life and kind of contribute to its story. Like, I don't know, there's just like something so romantic about that.
Yeah, like I like to remember where I got my beads. And if it's an estate sale, I might try to do a little digging and find out what that old lady was all about. Like, what was her job? What was her hobby? You know, just because if someone asks me about it, I want to tell them a story.
Yeah.
And if they're willing to listen, I've got the tale.
That is so cool. Another thing I was going to ask you about that's like kind of tangentially related is like, are there any local organizations that you've been inspired by here in Lincoln? Because I know that there's like some awesome places where you can get like used supplies and used items from.
Where I do shop currently are places like Transformations Thrift at 14th and B, and I also have my stepkids volunteer there once a month during the school year and once a week during the summer. I really think that volunteering is like crucial to your development and your ability to like problem solve as a young person. I had a lot of volunteer hours when I was in high school and college, so I really encourage them to do that same kind of thing. And I just really like Transformations in general. I think that it's just such a well-run store. It's like, it's really well organized and everyone there is like really polite and like well-meaning, and they always want to be very helpful. And it's in the near South neighborhood, and we happen to live in the near South neighborhood. So I definitely love like supporting local in that way. I also particularly like Bud's Thrift, and that is downtown.
I was going to mention that.
You know it. Good. That's down at like 22nd and O. And the older ladies that run that place are always so nice. And I don't know if they actually ever remember my name, but they know that I sell and make jewelry. So sometimes they'll purposely hold like, they'll get these cute little pendant charms with not on a chain in, and they'll like hold them in a baggie hoping I come in. And they're like, hey, do you want to buy these? I'll sell them to you for like $1.25. And I'm like, you know what? Yes, I do. Thank you for asking.
Incredible. Bless those ladies.
Yes, love that. And side note, they had a 75% off sale, like just right before Christmas.
Mm.
And I got like a bunch of like cute little like Santas and snowmen and stuff for like Christmas that I didn't previously have. So like I got like a bunch of different stuff for like $1 a piece. And it was
Amazing.
like so great not to have to spend like $50 on a decorative item at like Target and be able to go to
Mm-hmm.
like the thrift store and get something from like 1989 that literally is super cute,
Yes.
great condition, and just cost me $1.
Seriously, I know. I like how I feel like that one's like maybe a little bit more off the beaten path, and I like how well organized it is. And when I went there, I found a bunch of cool random stuff, and including a Yahtzee set. I think I got it for $5, and it was like
Heck
from the
yes.
'80s, and it still had like the original scorekeeping notepad that says
Oh,
like
I love
copyright
that.
1980. And I play Yahtzee like a decent amount, I guess. It's just one of my favorite like classic board games, and I was really happy to be able to like find that and like add it to my collection and reuse something instead of again like buying it at a big box store that would have like way overcharged me. So
I'm a big Yahtzee girl too, and we talked about our like first board games earlier, and it wasn't my first board game, but it was one of my first games. I grew up hanging out with my grandma a lot. I spent a lot
mm-hmm.
of time with my grandma on my maternal side, and she was a huge Yahtzee player. So I played Yahtzee with her a ton, and we still like keep up that tradition now. We
Oh
absolutely like play it when people come over and they don't really know how to play that
yes.
many games, or if like we have like younger people in the mix, it's something easy to teach.
Yes to all those things. To jump back to Gilded Gecko. So another thing that I think is really cool about your business is that you've started organizing art markets. So can you explain more, like, what made you want to do that and how that's gone for you so far?
In November 2024, there was an arts council locally that kind of went under. And about a month later, there was another event host that also went under.
Mm.
And those things happened back to back. And that meant that all of their events that were already on the books and scheduled were canceled moving forward. So
Mm.
there were a variety of people that I knew personally that lost out on money and lost out on these opportunities to pop up. And I was nervous because there were certain events that I did with these two groups that maybe I was looking forward to doing next year because I needed to be able to grow as Gilded Gecko.
Yeah.
I was just exiting my freshman year and I was going to start my second pop-up
Mhm.
season, and I was like, what am I going to do my second pop-up season if these other things that I thought I was going to do no longer exist? And I was like, I'm going to wait it out maybe a couple months and see where this goes, see what progresses. Because I was wondering if maybe someone like Downtown Lincoln Association would pick up the slack in that way. And I'm like, DLA has like maybe the resources to pull it off, but do they have the time and manpower? And I'm like, that might be where they don't have like the ability to do that. So I'm going to give them the time to decide if they're going to do that before I jump in and make it about me. So what happens is around February, no other event planner or host or organization in town has decided that they were going to start hosting outdoor events to take the place of these things that disappeared. So instead of complaining about how they didn't exist, I was like, how can I leap into action and how can I fill that void? I'm really detail oriented and I'm very organized. I'm a big list maker. So I know that I'm going to make a list. I'm going to check it twice. I'm going to make sure that everything gets done because being my word is seriously important to me. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to look at my bank account. Can I pull this off? Can I afford to pay for these permits, to pay for the park space, to pay for the advertising, the insurance, everything that it takes to start hosting like events like the Arts Council would have in public parks? Can I do that? And I realized, you know what, I do have like enough money just to get started. And I'm like, and that's really all it takes. I was looking to create the opportunity for like the community and
Mhm.
to build the community because I found was like kind of lackluster and disappearing before our eyes. And I'm like, we can't have like art in Lincoln go away just because there aren't as many places to show it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there are a lot of like craft fair adjacent things going on, but what about actual artisans and makers and like painters, those types of people that don't have a gallery specifically? I'm like, where are they popping up? They need to be shown. I think that that community is like prudent to like a city. So somebody's got to be the person to do it, and I'll be that person. I'll do it.
Well, I think I've been to at least a couple that you've done, and the one like I went to most recently, which was like your like holiday one, was so much fun. I found so much awesome stuff there, like gifts for people, and I got like a little magnet that was like a bowl of chili with a cinnamon roll on the side.
Shout out Madison Chase Art.
Yes. Thank you for catching that and yeah, giving the credit there. So yeah, it was just like a wonderful time. And Turbine Flats was an amazing location. I always loved that. So yeah, I think that it just like all came together really well.
Well, I've got good news then. So that event that you came to was called Who Arted? And the one we did in November specifically was the holiday edition.
Yes.
And I decked it out to like, kind of have like a wintry Christmas vibe. People seem to like when you lean into like the holiday season and create like the magic. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you know what? I'm not huge on Christmas, but people like the magic of Christmas. So I was like, I'm bringing that to Turbine Flats, baby. So, I think that event was insanely well attended. I looked around and I was like, there's so many people in here. I can't believe it. And I don't know, like so many people I knew kept showing up, and I'm like, there's always a line at Gilded Gecko. And I'm like looking out into the main gallery, and there were it was thick with like shoppers. And I just felt like this overwhelming sense of like gratitude that people are like showing up and just like in awe of the fact that like, oh my God, I did this, like I got like all these people to say, yes, I will show up and be a vendor and I will do some live art at your event. And yes, like I will tell people to come, and then people actually came. And it's amazing that like a volleyball game was going on that night, a football game was going on that night, because I schedule things far in advance. And I'm going to tell you, hey, UNL, you guys don't be scheduling your volleyball and football games far enough in advance. Right. So I don't know if I'm going to be competing with that kind of thing. So Who Arted Holiday competed with a volleyball game and a football game. And I'd say we still had hundreds of people walk in that door that night between 4 and 8 p.m. And I was amazed and thankful because I want people to know that I try to fill the room. And I think that people really seem to like Who Arted Holiday. We had done in September, we had done the first Who Arted. It was an indoor and outdoor event. So we had around 50 artists and makers inside and outside. And when it's just an indoor event in the colder weather months, it's going to be about 17 to 18 like makers and artists. Mm-hmm. And I got word that we're bringing Who Arted back to Turbine Flats again. Yay. And we potentially will be doing it in April or May. Okay, if we do it in April, it's about 17, 18 makers because it's inside only. Mm-hmm, if we go into May, we can do an indoor-outdoor event with like 50 different makers. So I'm really excited about the possibilities, and I will be giving updates in the next few weeks about what that's really going to look like. And the reason I love Who Arted particularly is that I go art heavy. It's not a maker's market. It's not a craft fair. It is artists, painters, illustrators, drawers, sketchers, people who are doing different art forms, people also who do make things and create something, but it's not just like, someone doing something more AI based or prepackaged and polished. Like there's real like grit there, and there's real like handmade features there. And there's that weirdness that like makes local art cool, right?
Yes, exactly. Well, I am super excited to hear that, and I will be keeping an eye out for updates. And you've kind of already like touched on this a little bit, but I would love for you to expand more. So what do you think makes like the Lincoln art scene in particular stand out? And how's it been like for you getting to be a part of the local artist community now?
I think that being a part of the local arts community has become a huge part of my identity. So I'm like not just Sarah anymore when I'm here in
Mhm.
Lincoln. I'm Gilded Gecko. And it's weird
Yes.
because people know that and I'm like a little bit just shocked by that fact.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, like yes, I am the weird art girl. It's definitely how some people know me in town and
Yes.
I just have to embrace that role. Lincoln has a lot of good art, in my opinion, but I think the problem with the art in Lincoln is that it's not always easily accessible and not everybody knows about it. So
Yeah, it needs to.
it's sort of hidden in a way.
Hmm. Hmm.
So some of the studios or galleries might be a little bit more underground or low key. So they might not advertise, they might not have like a super active website, you know, or it
Right.
might be that it's a new event that maybe you just haven't heard of yet and it just hasn't really gotten its roots in the ground. So people haven't like heard much about it, so they don't know to come to it. So I think that there is so much great art to be seen in Lincoln and so many good like makers and creators and people that are like just like even just vibe makers, taste makers here in
Yeah.
town. I think that there is a lot of that, but there needs to be a place where everyone can get together and showcase those things. And I
Hmm.
think that's what was so important with Gilded Gecko is that I bring all those people into one place and people always say, you introduced me to like this one artist or maker I've never heard of. And when I go to events with you, like I'm seeing people I've never seen before. And people are just really excited that it's like a new group of people has shown up that they never had seen before. And I'm glad to be offering that to people and like filling the Lincoln art scene with those people that maybe haven't been exposed as much as they could be. I definitely want to empower people to keep putting their art out there, and I want to encourage people to join events whenever they see them. And some people are maybe not as outspoken as me, and maybe some people are more shy, so maybe they don't chase the opportunity in the same way. So if they're not really doing that, I want to be like the person that holds a place for them.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, as a person who was in small town newspaper, media, and now has a podcast, it's like, yes, I always want more connection, always giving a platform to people and letting people know about awesome stuff that's going on. So I definitely resonate with that. And also, I guess like another thing that came to mind as you were talking about the Who Arted holiday event was it's awesome when I get to see people coming out and, buying local for the holidays. And even though it takes like maybe some extra effort, just being able to provide those kinds of more unique and homegrown gifts instead of just kind of getting another thing crossed off your to-do list, like that always gets me really excited. And I hope and I think that like there's some momentum going on with that, but I'm always a huge proponent for doing that and not just like buying boring generic gifts. And even I guess like another thing that like sounds maybe kind of counterintuitive is like this year I really appreciated like gift cards to like small businesses here in Lincoln. And it's like we've been told like that gift cards are thoughtless, but it's like, well, if you get it for a small business, then that means that this person gets to go to their favorite like local bookstore or local clothing store and like spend some time in there and like look around and buy something from there. So I mean, those are all positives in my book.
I completely agree. And one of the big reasons that I think shopping small and shopping local is important is that it really truly does impact that small business owner or micro brand who you're supporting. When you support like a company like Walmart or Target or Amazon, it's not like just this one person who's relying on that money or like hoping that that comes in.
Right.
It's like a big company who like already knows, hey, our bills are paid. But like when you're buying like from like a one man operation, it really does make a difference in like how they view how a market went and how they maybe feel about themselves. Like I think it really can like help boost your self-esteem, like just knowing like, hey, like my art or this project I made mattered to someone else. And like that just like makes you as a human just so excited. And it's like when you go to sleep, like you go to sleep like with, I don't know, like a smile on your face, and you wake up excited to try to make something new that you can like get in front of somebody else who's excited about it also.
Yeah. What you're making, like this thing that came out of your brain and, you know, your heart that you made with your hands is like actually connecting with people.
And that feels better than one can explain. And I think that customers like assume like, oh yeah, they appreciate it, they like it. But it's like, it makes all the difference on, you know, was this something that is this the kind of event I want to join again? Like, did people seem to approach me, like me, shop with me? Is this the kind of like place where I fit in? And it's like when you get like the customers and they have good feedback, and it makes you feel like, oh, I do fit in here. This is the right place for me. And people like what I have. And it just like underlines like why you're really doing it. I think.
Yeah.
It makes a difference in a bigger way than I think the customer can even picture.
That totally makes sense. And I mean, for me, as a person who just likes to support small businesses, it just makes the holidays that much more special for me. You know, it's like, this is me experiencing it in this very specific place. And to me, like the artists are what makes a place special because, you know, they're making art that you can't get anywhere else. So yeah, that's always like, at least to me, like a small comfort if I'm getting like really stressed out by by all the hubbub and all the traveling and all the other things that need to get done in that chaotic time.
And when it comes to gift cards and gift certificates, like, yes, I see how people could see it as impersonal, but you know what? I see both sides here, because here's the thing about, like you said, shopping local or like having it be a small business, a place that's got one or two locations in town, getting a gift card or a gift certificate from them, you know, say October, November, December, helps them like make their end of the year sales goals.
Totally. Yes.
And it's like, you know, that person that's going to come back with a gift card also might spend a little bit more than the gift card allows.
Exactly.
So it really just helped boost like the local economy. I think it's a smart way to shop local, even if you think that it's maybe impersonal to buy a gift card. It makes a difference to the local business owner. And like then your friend or family member also gets to go back to that small spot and remember why they like it so much.
Yes. I guess looking forward, are there any 2026 goals you have for your business?
In 2026, my goal is to host 14 events.
Oh, wow.
So I hosted 11 in 2025, and I have a couple opportunities coming up that are going to be new opportunities. So I have met with the owner of O'Rourke's downtown, the bar.
Ooh, yeah.
Yep. And it's right near like 13th and O Street. And O'Rourke's is interested in maybe potentially having First Friday art hung, you know, and then having like the artists like show up and kind of talk about their art. But, you know, they're like, and even if that doesn't work out, what we should definitely do is we should definitely have a market or two here, like on a Saturday afternoon, you know, like when it's not typically like super busy. We've got a big enough location for it. And we would love to support like, you know, the local weirdos, right? Like, isn't that like what we're trying to do? So I'm going to be doing a market at O'Rourke's downtown in April. So I'll be doing that I haven't decided yet. It's going to be one of the first 3 Saturdays in April, and it'll be on a Saturday afternoon. And I think I can fit at least 12 to 14 people in that building. Yeah. So I'm going to be giving out some more information about that. But that's like a new spot, like a new tap that I haven't had before. So I'm
Yeah.
like looking forward to potentially working with O'Rourke's again in the future. And Turbine Flats is looking forward to working with me additionally. They've historically done their Why Not markets and First Fridays, and those have been successful. So I think that they'd like to have me host a little bit more frequently to kind of help that current director out in a way, so that community events are definitely being held there, and like having someone else like take charge is very helpful. So I'm going to be definitely doing at least 3 markets there in 2026. And I'm bringing back First Friday at Tower Square downtown at 13th
Oh,
and P.
yes.
Yep, it goes from May through October.
Okay.
So the first one is literally May 1st.
Well, then, if somebody's like listening to this and they're an artist and they're like wanting to get out more, like how can they reach you to potentially be a part of that?
The best way to reach out to me is Instagram. I'm an Instagram girl through and through, and you can find me at Gilded Gecko, and just shoot me a DM. I check my spam box too, so I'm definitely going to see it, and I'm pretty responsive. If you're someone that already knows me and you have my phone number, shoot me a text. I am honestly not as intimidating as I come across. And I'm really happy to connect people with events that other people are hosting, maybe something that fits their schedule or timeline better than whatever I have going on. And I'm happy to keep them in mind for like things that I have in the future if they fit into the theme as well. I definitely want to see people connected and not see people like just waiting on the sidelines. Like I want you booked and busy.
Yeah, that's great. And I will also have links in the show notes. So for people who are interested, just head there. Is there anything else you wanted to add that I didn't ask you about?
Something that I think that people should know is if you follow me on Instagram specifically, I will give you $1 off your purchase. Every time you shop at Gilded Gecko, you have to just say, hey, I follow you on Instagram. That's the password. And I'll give you $1 off every time. And something else is if you have bought something from me in the past, like a pair of earrings or a necklace, and the chain breaks or the hooks breaks or it's looking like it's starting to tarnish, I offer a replacement service. So you can just hit me up and say, hey, Sarah, this happened. I want to replace the chain or the hooks. Can you help me out with that? Earrings, dangly earrings are typically $8. I'll replace the like hooks and all the jewelry findings for just $6. Necklaces are typically $9. I'll replace the clasps and the chain and all the jewelry findings for just $7. So I don't want people to think like, oh, that piece I bought from Gilded Gecko is not wearable anymore. It still is. Like, I'll help you fix it. We'll get to the bottom of it.
Well, with that, we are entering into one of my favorite parts of this podcast, which is the current favorites recurring ending segment. What's your favorite thing at the moment, Sarah?
Okay, so I have this problem where I obsess over something and I ruminate and I think about it over and over. And
that's what we're here for. That's like the purpose of this segment.
Thank God. So I've got a couple things that I jotted down because I'm like, I've got several, but we'll see what we have time for.
Excellent.
So one of the things that's really been on my mind lately is we bought a new house, a new to us house this year. Right. And the house was built in 1900 and it's south of downtown. It's a truly beautiful historic property. But in my mind, when you look at it, it's not necessarily one obvious architectural style. So I've been nerding out, as one might say, analyzing it and trying to determine what style I really think it is. So I think that it's technically an eclectic American four-square with classical revival accents.
I had not heard the eclectic style, but looking at the background, it looks very, very beautiful. And I love an old house. I love old things that are like made thoughtfully with good materials. So I'm just drawn to that. So anyway, any other like current favorites you want to gab about?
Lincoln Earth Day is scheduled for April 25th, and it's on Innovation Campus. It's
Okay.
not necessarily a bunch of shops, it's not a market, but it's just an event where they talk about sustainability and recycling, reducing your carbon impact, and like
Yeah.
how you can kind of like make a difference in the ability to have sustainability in your community. What is so great about Gilded Gecko is that my brand just fits in well. So I'm one of very few actual vendors that sells something at this event.
Yeah.
So I'll be there. And that is where I met Stuff Creative Reuse. That's where I met Kashon and Kylie last year, is at that event.
Okay.
And it's through there that I learned all about this like really cool nonprofit that recently opened. And my friend from the Bethany Neighborhood Association led the bike rodeo for kids. And I thought that was such a cool, interesting thing to have a variety of used bicycles in all different sizes
Mm-hmm.
available. And there's like a cool like track like drawn out with chalk, and there's like cones all set up so that kids can kind of go through like this humongous like course. And it's just like a fun way to keep kids involved in sustainability also. So I was really excited to join that event last year. I think it was a huge success, and I'm going to be joining again this year. And I'm just kind of excited to show people that, you know, upcycling really can be fun.
Nice. Mine is, I guess, like decomposition books, with a special shout out to Gomez Art Supply for having them in stock. But this is the one I got today. I'm almost out. I'm almost finished up with my other notebook. So, as a writer, this feels like a perfect like January moment of like the old notebook, like facing the new notebook and like transitioning over into a new year of writing. And I have a bunch of writing projects and ideas I want to chase down this year. So I'm just like very excited. In the past, I kind of just like buy notebooks willy nilly, but it's like, no, now I have a system. I have my favorite notebook, I have my favorite kind of pen. Like, let's go.
My favorite kind of pen.
I
Okay, but
do.
I like that you're writing it down and not typing it like on your computer. Like it's all handwritten. I also like to write things down. As you see, like I wrote down like
Yeah.
3 pages of notes for this interview. And I'm like,
Amazing.
I'm probably gonna say half the stuff that's written down, but I'm like, I need a place to work from. And it's like
Yes.
good just to have my ideas in my own handwriting, because I'm used to reading my own handwriting and then I remember it better, I think.
Yes, there is definitely studies that show you remember it better when you write it down.
Yeah.
And yeah, like sometimes you do just have to do the act of writing. And I'm not opposed to typing when the situation calls for it. You know, as somebody who used to be in journalism, like sometimes you just gotta go with what's fastest. But
It's quick to edit that way, yeah.
yes, that too. But I do prefer to write when I have the time. So for me, having like multiple notebooks is essential at all times.
Well, listen, if you're ever in the market for like a cute sticker for your notebook,
Oh, yes.
you come by the Gilded Gecko pop-up shop and your girl's got one
Beautiful.
for you free of charge. I
Yes.
know it.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Yes, of
I already
course.
have like a pile of stickers waiting to adorn my new notebook with, and that's always a non-negotiable for me. So I will definitely be doing that next time I see one of your pop-ups. So thank you for that invite.
Perfect. You're welcome.
Well, thank you so much. I had so much fun talking with you, and I can't wait to go to your next event.
Great. I look forward to seeing you again at my next event.
I had a great time learning about Sarah's budding art venture, and I hope you look into her events if you're in the area. Well, friends, that's it for season 2. Thank you so much for showing up and being here. This is the last episode we'll be publishing for the time being. I'm going to switch gears and start working on a book project, and I only have so much creative energy to go around. Even though Nerdlandia will be shelved for the time being, the past 2 years have meant so much to me, and I don't want to say that I'll never revisit the show. There are still plenty of future guests I'd love to feature and share with you all. As a final treat, enjoy the special Nerdlandia credits music featuring my sister Liz on the clarinet, accompanied by Keith on the ukulele, as always. Until next time, Nerdlandians, be kind, be curious, and above all, be proud of your own unique brand of nerdiness. Nerdlandia is hosted, produced, and edited by Emily Case Buskirk. Theme song and ending credit music by Keith West. Cover art by Ellen Stebbings. Additional music from Pixabay.